When I went home at night, I collided with a female driver. There is a piece of good news, and a piece of bad news. The good news is that the female driver is extremely beautiful. The bad news is that there is a letter B, with wings on the front of her car. One when people are unlucky. Even drinking cold water can get stuck in their teeth. In the morning, the company released the latest performance rankings. I was at the bottom, so my bonus for this month was gone. At night when I drove back home and entered the basement garage, as soon as I turned a corner, I collided head-on with an SUV. At a speed of 20 kilometers per hour. The headlights of our cars crashed into each other and were completely shattered. At the moment of the collision, my mind was completely blank. Sitting in the car, I didn't see clearly yet. I just felt that the car on the opposite side was extremely high-end. But the moment I got out of the car, I was certain that my heart skipped a beat. The bee with wings. Even if I am a loser, I know what that car is called. I looked at the lines on the ground. Damn it. I had already turned into the opposite lane. With my last bit of consciousness, I barely remembered my third-party liability insurance. It seemed that it was $500,000. It should be, barely, enough to pay for the damages. Right? The door of the car on the opposite side opened. A pair of exquisite high heels. Long legs. A small waist like an A for paper. A third tie for the bust. A swan neck. And an oval face with fair skin like an egg. When I looked into those big almond-shaped eyes that were tightly knitted, I really wanted to slap myself. At a time like this, I was still looking at a beauty. You are fully responsible, she said coldly. Just like a lifeless verdict in court. But it still needs to be judged by the police. I swallowed and summoned up my courage to ask her. How much does it cost to repair this? I don't know. Her tone was still flat. Several $100,000. It was the dignity of a man that held me up and prevented me from kneeling. I no longer had the courage to ask if $500,000 was enough. With my last breath. Then, call the police and the insurance company. She frowned and took out her phone and was just about to make a call when a call came in. I vaguely heard that the voice on the other end seemed quite urgent. She said, "Okay. I know. I'll be there soon." Then she took out a business card and handed it to me. "I have an urgent matter. You take pictures and call the insurance company yourself. Anyway, you are fully responsible. We will handle it at the loss assessments enter tomorrow." I wouldn't do this. I saw that she had also crossed the line. There was still a little bit of hope in my heart. Even if she was judged to be 10 responsible, maybe $500,000 would be enough. This isn't good. The responsibility still needs to be determined by the police. The road is slippery on a rainy day. The garage is like being waxed. Maybe it also involves the property management. Don't you think so? After all, your car is so expensive. I babbled on. She directly interrupted me. You are completely on the reverse lane. The responsibility is very clear. Regarding my life savings. Of course I wouldn't give up just because she was a beauty. I was still making a last-ditch effort. Another text message came on her phone. She looked down and involuntarily let out a sound of disapproval. She looked up at her car, then glanced at me who was still chattering. Then I am fully responsible. All right? I have something urgent. I'll leave first. I opened my mouth wide and my jaw almost dropped. Is this the legendary Rich and Willful? At this time, if I still stopped her and insisted on waiting for the police, it would be my problem. I was almost overjoyed and on the verge of tears. No, I would hold back and cry at home. Now my reason told me that while she was in a hurry, I should let her sign the accident commitment letter first. Don't let her go back on her word after waking up. I quickly found paper and a pen from my car and simply wrote down the license plates of both parties. The other party admitted full responsibility. She had already sat back in her car and restarted it. I thickened my skin and took the accident responsibility letter over. At this moment, I felt that my face was the sturdiest iron wall in the world. When I talked to the insurance company later, There must be some proof for something. When she saw the paper and pen I handed over, I accompanied it with a smiling face. I couldn't say that I was afraid she would go back on her word. It could be seen that she was really in a hurry. She quickly signed her name on the paper. But just as she was about to hand it back to me, her hand hesitated. She glanced down at the dashboard. She opened the door and got out. My heart also skipped a beat as she withdrew her hand. No good. There's a change. She walked to the front of the wheel and knitted her brows tightly. Only then did I notice that not only were the headlights broken, but her wheel was also punctured by my bumper and had actually gone flat. I was really sweating profusely, looking at my little broken car that had accompanied me for 8 years and a days. You are really awesome. When encountering a Bentley, you didn't give in at all. I really got into trouble because of you today. My car can't be driven now. Can your car still be driven? Although it was a question, I heard the meaning of an imperative sentence. Ah? It should be. Probably okay. She looked at her watch. I have an urgent matter now. It's raining outside, and it's not easy to get a taxi. You take me to Straight Hotel and I'll give you the commitment letter. Could I say no? Even if I had to drive with the wheel hub, I had to complete the task. I quickly went back to the car to tidy up. I opened the back door. No problem. Then you'll have to endure a little discomfort. She walked to the car door and glanced at it. Probably the small space was really unable to accommodate her long legs. She still walked to the passenger seat. I'll sit in the front. You can't deny that Buicks are solid. After taking down a Bentley, it still looks powerful. With an attitude of making up for my mistakes, I drove like the wind and delivered her to Straight Hotel in 10 minutes. At the entrance of the hotel, I saw a girl in professional attire from a distance. She was carrying a heavy briefcase and looking anxiously ahead. She checked her watch from time to time. She pointed at the girl. That's her. The little broken car stopped steadily in front of the girl. In the girl's astonished gaze, their boss actually got out of a small Buick with a broken headlight. Luna. You? The girl stammered as if she couldn't believe her eyes. We'll talk about it later. Has Chen Yang arrived? The girl shifted her eyes away from my car. Manager Chen. He just called and said he had a stomachache and went to the hospital. He can't come. What? Why didn't you say so earlier? Is there anyone else in the design department to fill in? I just received the call too. He had already left home. But he couldn't bear it and turned to the hospital. The others are also. The girl's voice grew softer and softer. While they were talking, I finally took a moment to glance at the business card she handed me. Luna, General Manager of Tianshan Industrial. Goodness. She has a really big reputation. I didn't expect to meet the boss of such a well-known local company like this. It seems that if I want to change jobs in the future, I must not choose their company. Luna, are we going in just the two of us? The girl was talking to her, but her eyes were glancing at me. She didn't know who I was. But obviously I didn't look like a Didi driver because this car was really shabby. The reason I hadn't left was that my letter of commitment was still in Luna's hands. I really didn't want to interrupt their conversation. But I was afraid that she would really leave without a word. So I had to bite the bullet. Luna. That. Mine. That. Luna's gaze swept back and lingered on me for a while. I was wearing a suit for work and hadn't to change yet. Feeling nervous under her gaze, I couldn't help straightening my back. Luna put the letter of commitment into my car window. Here you are. Do me another favor. Come with me and be a show up. Is that okay? With the letter of commitment in hand, I finally let out a long sigh of relief and felt at ease. I became more confident. I patted my chest. No problem. Just wait for me to park the car. No need. Leave it to the valet. The guests are waiting. Let's go first. The valet drove what was probably the shabby street car he had ever driven to the parking space, while I followed Luna and the girl and entered the hotel in a proper manner. 3 all the way. The girl was secretly looking back at me. Luna seemed to have guessed her doubts and asked me, "What's your name?" I'm Ryan. I felt that the girl was even more puzzled. Now we are going to meet an internationally renowned investor regarding the investment and cooperation of a local business project. We have already given him the plan. He will only stay here for one night to finalize the last decision. Originally, our design department manager was supposed to come with us today. But he had something unexpected. In order to show our professionalism, you will temporarily replace the design department manager. At that time, you don't need to speak. Just listen. Do you understand? Probably in order not to make me look too out of place. Luna explained tonight's task to me. Yes. Yes. I promise to complete the task. Boss. You waived hundreds of thousands of my compensation with just one word. How could I be without awareness? It's just being a shill. We see this a lot in our sales offices. 200 yuan a day. Not a big deal. Luna and I walked into a private room on the second floor of the hotel. Sitting in the main seat of the private room was an old man in his 50s or 60s. His hair was all white. He was wearing a linen gown and had a string of brown beads on his hand. Bigger than Longan. He was exactly like a villainous big shot on TV. Don't say he was an investor. I would believe it if you said he was a triad boss. The seat on the right side of the old man was empty. On his left side were two men in business suits. One was also in his 40s. But the position closer to the investor was occupied by a young man who looked about the same age as Luna. Looking like an energetic and talented young man. Mr. Su. Hello. Luna went in and greeted him. But when her eyes caught sight of the two people next to him, she was obviously stunned for a moment. Ah. Luna is here. Sit down quickly. And then noticed Luna's eyes. These two are President Wo of our Ihong group and his assistant. You also know that for the World City project, I'm considering choosing my partner between you two. Since I'm short of time, I called you together. Luna. Do you mind? Only then did I know that what they were talking about was actually the World City project that everyone in the local area knew. It was said that it was going to be the most high-end commercial landmark. Goodness. I was actually on the spot to witness the birth process. Luna quickly regained her composure. Of course not. I'm also an old acquaintance of President Wong Max. However, business is like a battlefield. I won't show mercy to President Wo. Everyone laughed. The young man named Max across from them swept a rather complicated look at Luna and finally landed on me. He seemed to look at me in surprise for a few seconds. Luna is from a financial background. Project design is not your strong point. Weren't you supposed to bring your design department manager Chen Yang? Why did you bring this handsome guy? He looks a bit unfamiliar. Before it even started, I could smell a sense of hostility. But why are you targeting me when you are at loggerheads with each other? I frowned slightly and still remembered to keep my mouth shut throughout. However, Luna was not intimidated. Project cooperation is of course for making money. I studied finance. Making money is my strong point. Chen Yang has something to do today. Our company is so big. And there is more than one design department manager. This is Manager Ryan Tao. President Wo. If you have time to be concerned about my personnel, you'd better pay more attention to the project. The first round was a draw. The old man looked at both sides with a smile and signaled us to take our seats. The girl in business attire took out for design plans for her briefcase and placed one in front of each of us and the old man. Entering the formal negotiation session. After about an hour of discussion, each side introduced the advantages of their own plans. Although I had been pretending to listen carefully, except for being able to understand what the project looked like, everything else was like listening to a book from heaven. Anyway, I kept my mouth shut all the time and just kept looking at the plan in front of me. When it was time to make a decision, after listening, the old man took a sip of tea. I called everyone here today to have a definite result. Everyone's plans have their own advantages. I'll be straightforward. I hope you don't mind. Luna and Max looked at each other. I felt that the indoor temperature seemed to suddenly rise a few degrees. Mr. Wo's plan has a low overall cost. And thus the payback period is shorter. It is a very practical plan. but it is rather conventional and lacks prominent highlights. Luna's plan is refreshing in design, and if it succeeds, it will surely make the project an instant hit. However, the cost budget is on the high side. From my point of view, I prefer Luna's plan. But Luna must reduce the overall cost by another 10, otherwise, I would rather be more conservative. Hearing this, Max's eyes darkened, and his gaze at Luna showed some hatred. Of course. Luna beamed with joy. This is not a big problem. I will discuss it with the design department later. I should be able to control the overall cost. When I learned about the investment in the entire project, I was secretly astounded long ago. No wonder Luna had to come over immediately even if she didn't make me compensate. Those hundreds of thousands of yuan are just a drop in the ocean for the entire project. Today's task has been successfully completed. I wonder if Boss Lin will be so happy that he will give me a big red envelope again, just as I was about to leave after achieving success. Max's cold voice came. Discuss it with the design department again? Isn't the design department manager right here? Manager Tao. Why don't you tell us your improvement plan right now? Otherwise, if even you, a dignified manager, can't come up with one, it will be a waste of time to go back. Mr. Su, don't you think so? The old man nodded as he listened and looked at me. Ryan, then you can talk about it. All of a sudden, all eyes in the room were focused on me. I saw Luna's face turn pale instantly, for I really wanted to splash a glass of water on Max's face. How could he be so hard on someone like this? People like you surely won't survive the second round in a team fight. But I knew that if I made Luna fail tonight, maybe I would be in trouble tomorrow. It was time to show my real skills. Clearing my throat, I opened the plan in front of me. Everyone, I'm sorry. Actually, I haven't been in charge of this project for long, so I'm not very familiar with some parts. Please forgive me if I don't speak well. I winked at Luna. Like little DAJ charging towards the ultimate using Widja Styles Try and DA mirror. Since our Tianshang Industrials started this project, colleagues in the design department have been working day and night, aiming to design a world-class city of the highest standard. The plan is successful. But there are also some preconceived problems in some areas. We have always been pursuing the use of the highest grade materials. For example, for the stone on the main exterior wall of our building, we use the most expensive Italian Nero Port Oro gold, which improves the quality of the project while also driving up the cost. According to Mr. Su's suggestion, I suggest replacing it with domestic Nero Portoro gold stone. There is not much difference, but the cost can be at least halved. And for the exterior stone of the internal blocks, it can even be replaced with Shinji and column Malai gold, which not only greatly reduces the cost, but also enhances the brightness in terms of color, making the internal blocks look brighter and more spacious. Silence filled the Straight Hotel this evening, but it was soon broken by Luna's applause. I thought to myself, you really know how to pick the right time. I racked my brains and had only this much to say. If you had clapped 1 second later, I might have had to perform chanting the Great Compassion mantra. That old fox, Mr. Su, showed a gratified smile like a kind father. Today's young people are really not to be underestimated. Luna has no weak soldiers under her command. Then I look forward to our cooperation. Luna, looking heroic and vigorous, stood up and shook hands with the old man, glaring at Max hatefully with her big eyes. Max's face became extremely ugly, and he could only laugh awkwardly. Then he turned his head and made an eye attack on me. So he regarded me as at the bottom of the food chain, right? But he didn't know that I was truly beyond the 3 realms and not within the 5 elements. I unceremoniously fought back. Back in the day, when I had a staring contest with my desk mate, I never lost. The fierce are afraid of the ruthless, and the fearless are afraid of the crazy. Luna forcibly suppressed her great joy and her almost uncontrollable smiling face and walked out of the box quickly. I followed behind arrogantly, hiding my merit and fame. Wow, Ryan, You are so amazing. You were so cool just now. The girl launched a star-eyed attack on me as soon as she got downstairs. I'm Tina, Luna's assistant. Are you about to join our company? Just a little trick. Everyone who wanders the Zhang who knows how to talk nonsense seriously. Luna also slowed down. Only then did she put away her cold as ice face. Do you really understand those things? Facing the main person. I became a bit more reserved. I'm a real estate agent. After several years. I've heard a lot of bluffing in the company and know a little bit about it. I'm just showing off my incompetence in front of an expert. Luna nodded, looking as if she suddenly realized something. You did well today and helped me a great deal. I will let Tina take the driver to deal with the car matter tomorrow. By the way, I will give you a red envelope. Thank you. This is the understanding and respect that should exist between people. I could almost die with a smile. Today was like a roller coaster with unexpected twists and turns. This amazing feat is enough for me to brag about for at least 3 years. Just as we reached the entrance, I was in a great mood. And my sycophantic nature flared up again. Luna, it's raining outside. Do you want me to take you home? She took a distant look at my shabby car that was like a one-eyed dragon. Forget it. I'm not in a hurry right now. I'll take a taxi. Yes. I got carried away. I asked the doorman to bring my car over. And Tina went to hail a taxi for Luna. While we were waiting, a greeting came from behind us. And the last person I wanted to see showed up. I have to say that Max is quite handsome. At first glance, he is a standard rich second generation. Very attractive to young girls. Looking all prim and proper. Luna. Long time no see. You are more beautiful. No. As soon as he opened his mouth. Why did it feel so much like a cheesy drama? Same here. You also look all prim and proper. I couldn't help but chuckle beside them. Great minds think alike. Max turned his head and glared at me unhappily. But didn't bother with me. I really didn't know it was you coming today. If I had known it was you, I would have been willing to hand over the project to you. Even if I lose to you, I would be quite happy. Only tonight did I see what it means to talk nonsense. My skills of deceiving those middle-aged women are nothing compared to his. Really? I'm also quite happy. By the way, I will look into Chen Ying's matter carefully when I get back. Max looked a little embarrassed. It seems that you have a deep misunderstanding of me. I was just looking for an opportunity to have a good talk with you. The rain was getting heavier and heavier. He saw Tina's figure waiting for a car in the distance. You didn't drive today? Let me give you a ride home. I don't know where he got the courage. After saying such things, he still had the cheek to offer to send someone home. Luna already showed an impatient look on her face. No. I have arrangements. Max seemed to be a bit angry and ashamed, and reached out to pull Luna. Damn it. It was okay that you were being a jerk and treating me as if I were invisible before. But how dare you pull and push in front of me? Bullying my master. Oh no. Bullying my benefactor? Do you really think that I took your envelope for nothing? I took a quick step sideways and stood in front of Luna. Luna has arrangements already. Mr. Wolwo doesn't need to worry about it. Luna looked at me with a surprised look, and soon hid behind me tacitly. Max's face became extremely ugly. Who do you think you are? I'm talking to Luna. It's none of your business to interrupt. Hey. I can't out-pretend you. But I'm not afraid of arguing. Mr. Wo seems to have a stinky mouth and bad ears as well. Luna said she has her own arrangements. Didn't you understand? It means she will go home by herself. If you have time, go to the hospital and have your brain checked. Max was about to explode instantly. I straightened my back, looking like I was ready to fight to the end. If he dared to touch me, I would just lie on the ground and not get up. As the boss of a big company, if I don't extort 80 or 100,000 from him today, I'll consider myself a loser. Just as I was thinking about how to fall to the ground more gracefully, the doorman came over. Sir. Your car. The most terrifying thing is the sudden silence in the air. A shabby little car with only one headlight completely ruined my aura. And his as well. The car was so shabby that Max probably never expected it. He was so astonished that he forgot to mock me. I really considered whether I should tell the doorman that he had made a mistake. While the two little men named Integrity and Dignity were fighting in my mind. Luna took my arm. Let's go. Didn't you say you would take me home? Max didn't say another word. Tonight I proved one thing. A dimensionality reduction strike can also work in reverse. 6. I drove the car silently. A song named Embarrassment was playing on the radio. Luna. I'm sorry. I made you feel wronged again. I broke the silence in the car. It's not really a wrong. Besides not being able to stretch my legs. Your car is quite comfortable to sit in. I didn't know whether to be sad or happy. But out of the basic respect for my shabby car, I still told her. There is a handle under the seat. Look for it. You can move the seat backward. Luna tried to feel around. She was like Granny Liu entering the Grandview Garden. Really? I didn't find the adjustment button. The humiliating tears streaked across my heart. She probably didn't know that there was such a thing as manual adjustment in the world. I pulled over and told her that this handle was for pulling. When I got close to her body, a faint fragrance wafted into my nose, having the same effect as the 10 fragrance soft muscle powder. Her face visibly turned red, probably because she was ashamed of her ignorance. I quickly sat up straight and resumed my appearance of a gentleman. Suddenly, I thought of a serious question and asked, by the way, where are you going? Back to the community? I don't live there. I was just dropping by to visit a friend before. She gave me an address. Just take me home directly. We can deal with the car tomorrow. No wonder. I said to myself that I had never seen such a wealthy person in the community before. Thinking of the previous miserable situation, I couldn't help but fall into silence again. As I was driving, she suddenly burst out laughing. What's going on? Is Cinderella about to show her true form? I looked at the time. It was not yet 12 o'clock. I'm sorry. I thought of Max's face when we got into the car and couldn't help it. The corners of my mouth twitched a few times. I probably wouldn't have the face to use such a self-defeating trick again. I seemed to hear my shabby car protesting in my mind. Are you polite? I also felt sorry for it. Speaking of that pretty boy. Is he chasing you? He has chased me long ago. Luna answered very readily. I don't know why. But when the gossipy flame flared up, I actually felt a bit sour in my heart. Our families have known each other for years. We studied together when we were abroad. But I didn't accept him. I don't know why she told me so much. Maybe she was in a good mood. Or perhaps she had the urge to confide in a stranger? I didn't dare to say much either. I just echoed a few words. And soon we arrived at her home. I finally knew that there were such large villa groups in the city center. So tranquil inside and prosperous outside is really not just an advertising slogan. Under the watchful eyes of the security guards, my shabby car might have set a new record in this villa area again. They say that even if your car is shabby, you should still keep your dignity. So I still opened the door for her like a gentleman. Luna got out of the car and thanked me again. I said you're welcome. Since we are fated, feel free to call me for any tasks. Just don't let me see you again at the loss assessment center. She covered her mouth and giggled. Like the EPI fall lum in full bloom at night, blooming heartily in my ordinary life. I sat back in the car and waved goodbye to her with my hand out of the roof. She suddenly took a couple of small running steps. Let's add we chat. Maybe I will still ask you to do tasks. I said no problem. Next time I'll give you a 20% discount. And buy to get one free. The villa group became smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror. And I could finally light a cigarette. On the empty seat beside, it seemed that there was still the smell of 10 fragrance soft muscle powder. I muttered to my shabby car. I live on the 17th floor. And you live on the 3rd floor at most. I look down on you. We are like the distance between the sky and the earth. 7 early the next morning. When I went downstairs to drive, the garage was surprisingly busy. A tow truck was parked in front of Luna's big one-eyed dragon car, and a group of people were pointing at my small one-eyed dragon car. There were even people setting up lights to shoot a Dewey in video. I puffed out my chest like a hero returning. All of you, make way. This car was hit by me. Among the astonished gazes of the crowd, Tina saw me and greeted me excitedly. Are you free? Let's go and deal with it now. I said it was no problem, then turned around and reported to the company that I was going to develop a big client outside. Since both parties responsible had no objections, the loss assessment was processed very quickly. After finishing the formalities, Luna's big one-eyed dragon was towed away by the truck, and my car was left there for repair. Leaving the loss assessment center, I saw Tina walking briskly and shamelessly followed her. Girl, is there something you've forgotten? Forgotten? Tina looked suspicious. She flipped through the documents in her hand. I haven't forgotten anything. Oh my God. The big red envelope I had been looking forward to all night was gone just like that? I unwillingly used two fingers to draw the shape of a red envelope in front of her eyes. Luna, isn't there anything she asked you to bring to me? She seemed to suddenly realize. By the way, Luna asks you to come to the company. I immediately imagine the scenes in TV dramas. You can fill in this check as you like. And from now on, our grudges will be wiped out. How much should I fill in? As I thought about it, I couldn't help showing a silly smile in front of Tina. When I arrived at Luna's office, she was looking at some documents. Seeing me come in, she didn't raise her head and pushed a stack of materials to me. Fill this in. So it turns out that TV shows are all lies. There are so many procedures before getting a check. I bit the pen tip and felt more and more strange as I filled it in. Are they going to investigate my 8 generations of ancestors clearly? Luna, what is this for? She pushed another document to me. A labor contract? I saw clearly written on it that Tiansham Industrial hired me as the design department manager. This was too much of a joke. I quickly pushed the document back to her. No way. No way. I sell my skills, not myself. Luna finally raised her head and regained the ice beauty look when I first saw her. About what happened last night. Max will definitely not let it go easily. To be on the safe side, we hire you for this position. Don't worry. The specific tasks will be completed by the team. I grinned sheepishly. Forgive me, sister. If being clever could be counted as work experience, I might have run for US president by now. She didn't seem surprised at all. I said I would give you a big red envelope. Flip to the second page and have a look. The point is that I don't know how to do this either. I mumbled and flipped to the next page, where my salary was written. Gulp. I swallowed. Damn it. I will never bow down for 5 bushels of rice. But for 50 bushels, I'll go all out. I quickly signed my name and patted my chest. Luna, I will resign at noon and promise not to delay the afternoon work time. She nodded. Good. Get ready tonight and attend a dinner party with me. Walking into the gate of the Strait Hotel. The doorman nodded to me. I forced a smile. I always felt a bit of a shadow. Couldn't you choose another place? A group of people were already sitting in the private room. I only knew one person. Max. The first day at work was like a Hongmen banquet. Max was a little surprised at my appearance. The displeased look in his eyes flashed by, and then he gentlemanly pulled out the chair for Luna. Luna. We said it was a small gathering within the circle. Why did you bring your subordinate? It's too formal. Exactly. Besides the small gathering within the circle today, it's almost like a reunion of classmates who returned to China. Luna, you work too hard. Be careful not to be left on the shelf. Someone at the side echoed. Obviously. They didn't take me seriously at all. Luna didn't rush to explain either. She just gently took my arm. How could that be? Look. I've even brought my boyfriend. Everyone's eyes instantly focused on me. Max was obviously stunned for a moment. And I was also stunned for a moment. These lines. She hadn't told me before. His look immediately changed from disdain to hatred. I grinned and turned to Luna, using my eyes to tell her that this should cost more. So it's the boyfriend of Goddess Lin. No wonder he's so handsome. At first glance, I thought some star had walked into the wrong set. Damn it. All of you. Your mouths are like having rails paved. Luna introduced me around. There were bank presidents, chairmen, and bureau chiefs here. Fortunately, my current identity was no worse than theirs. I could barely be considered a parent. Max took half a glass of wine and walked between me and Luna. I left in a hurry yesterday and didn't even say hello to you properly. I think your car is very interesting. Did you drive it here today? Here it comes. I knew there would be no good when I saw him tonight. We are all grown men. He's playing palace intrigue with me here. I said. Mister. Whoa. You must be joking. I came with Luna tonight to make everyone have a good time. How could I drive? It doesn't matter if you've wasted all these years of studying. But don't lose face for everyone. Everyone burst into laughter. Max's face turned a little red. He wanted to lose his temper but was too embarrassed to do so because there were so many people. Max's little thoughts about Luma were known to everyone without saying. Seeing that the situation had changed now, and there was something interesting to watch. One by one, they came to offer toasts intentionally or unintentionally. Max, on the other hand, stared at me fixedly, just waiting for me to show some floss so that he could use his big move. One night, unexpectedly, I somehow became the focus of the dinner party. Pitifully, I racked my brains and boasted as much as I could think of just to barely hold my own. Now, the only trick left in my bag is dirty jokes. I turned to Luna for help, only to find that at some point she had already drunk so much that her cheeks were flushed. Except for the department head of our own department. She had toasted every other head one by one. And it seemed that she had made good progress. She had collected a bunch of business cards and, faintly, I heard that she had almost filled up her schedule for the next half month. So it turns out that being rich is not that easy either. At this moment, I suddenly realized that Max, that annoying leech, was not following her around. My perspective instantly broadened. She brought me here today, just to start the fight and draw the hatred. And then she would reap the benefits behind me. But I really couldn't come up with anything more. I couldn't really tell dirty jokes. Could I? Fortunately, Luna was almost done over there. After making a round, she came back and sat beside me. Oh, her face is all red from drinking. She took my hand in a very proper manner. We should go back. There's a meeting tomorrow. Naturally, I took the opportunity to leave. Everyone, let's get together next time. Otherwise, I'll have to kneel on the washboard when I get home. Amid the laughter, I completed my first task at work. And then several other people also left one after another. Luna took my arm and walked out of the hotel. I asked her if we should call a car. She said, "Let's walk. It's just the right way to sober up." 9. The evening breeze blew as we walked on the slow-running track along the river. She wrapped her clothes tighter around her. According to the standard plot in TV dramas, at this time I should take off my coat and put it on her. Just as I undid 2 buttons, I suddenly thought, am I, perhaps, getting too into the role? I secretly looked at her from the side. The moonlight shone on her face, giving it a slightly tipsy light red color. But deep in her eyes, there was a bit of stubbornness. If she were not a rich person, I think I would pursue her. What are you waiting for? Why don't you take your coat off yet? This sentence brought me back to reality. I quickly took off my coat and put it on her. Do you know why I brought you there? I understand. I draw the aggro, and you deal the damage. We cooperated quite tacitly. Luna chuckled. You're quite smart. Of course. How can I have the boss's meal for free? Besides, I'm not at a loss either. She suddenly let out a long sigh. Everyone sees my glamour. But who can see the efforts behind the glamour? I said. You're drunk and starting to be melodramatic. Of course. I didn't dare to say the latter half of the sentence out loud. She said. I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth and had a smooth journey all the way. But sitting at the helm, I also understand more clearly how many people are counting on you and how many people are trying to climb up. As long as you slack off a little, you will be kicked into the water, and they will abandon you without a ripple. I said yes. 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 You got the most kills. When we started the fight, they all went all out against you. She said. Do you know why I chose you? I said. Is it because I'm handsome? She said. Well, you're still a bit short of being a match for me. But you're the only outsider I know. Smart and not caring about my money. I said. Then you've wronged me. If I didn't care about money, I would have left you there yesterday. She turned around and glared at me with her beautiful eyes. I said. No. No, I think I'm just about a match for you. She laughed and said. Come on. Let's go have 2 more drinks. I said. Forget it. You're already walking in an S shape. If you drink more, I'll have to carry you back. She put her hand through my arm. Aren't you already supporting me? I had only drunk a little that night. But at this moment I felt a bit tipsy. In the end, I still took her into a taxi. After her head bumped against my shoulder twice, I reached out and gently pressed her head against my shoulder. I told myself that I was a gentleman, and I did this mainly to prevent the boss from getting hurt. The city seemed to blend all the thick black night into her slightly curled eyelashes, and the constantly flashing lights jumping into the car lit up the stars on her lips. I didn't dare to look any more, and turned my head away to stare at the 2 figures reflected in the rearview mirror. They still looked quite well matched. 10 the next day at work, I excitedly ran to her office to see if she had sobered up. But as soon as I stepped in, I was frozen by her cold look. What do you want? Sorry. I'm going to the toilet. I entered the wrong room. After coming out, I found Tina, who was buried in sorting out files. Little sister. Does your boss have a twin sister? Huh? The kind that one works during the day, and the other is active at night. Before she could answer, I thought of another situation. Or does she have a dual personality? One is a strong-willed woman, and one is a little girl? Tina stared at me with wide eyes for a few seconds. I don't know if she has a twin sister. If you keep bothering me and I can't finish my work, I can beat you so badly that your sister won't recognize you. I left silently. Everyone in this company is abnormal. They change their faces like it's a game every day. I don't know if one day, when I walk out, I can also look like a successful person. Looking presentable. No, I was already looking presentable. Bah. I'm a handsome-looking person. But I decided to start anew, and not let the small shabby car, which has endured scolding for me, create a wonderful future in vain. I found my colleagues and humbly asked them if there was anything I could do to help. I specifically downloaded CAD software on my computer and ordered a bunch of professional books online. All the water that got into my head during school has now become the tears in my eyes. But rich people are all so hardworking. Why should I be so slovenly? 3 months passed in a flash. During this period, I followed Luna all over the country, and also managed to carve out a path on the wine table, in the office, and in the conference room. Although I was an outsider at first, after selling houses for a few years, I got up to speed relatively quickly with unremitting efforts. Finally, I have advanced to being a semi-professional, while making up for my professional knowledge. I even enrolled in night school. At the same time, I also started some development work related to planning and construction approval. Luna still changes her attitude frequently as usual. I am already used to it. At most, when the younger sister appears, I talk more. When it's the older sister, I am more obedient. The World City project has finally completed the preparatory work smoothly. The groundbreaking ceremony is extremely grand. In addition to the invited related enterprises and various partners, almost all the people who are often seen on TV in this city attended. It's like a battle among immortals. I have been following Luna these days and actually become familiar to some extent. Shuttling among the big shots, I seem to have the illusion of being completely transformed. Today, I not only met various leaders of different levels, but also met Luna's real parent, the big boss Tim. The celebration banquet in the evening is mainly for the company's internal personnel and related cooperative enterprises. Tim is dressed almost the same as Old Man Sue was before. I wonder if there is a unified standard in their circle. This makes me can't help but think of that old fox. If it weren't for him, I might not be here today. It's a pity that he didn't come today. Otherwise, I would definitely toast him a glass of wine. Now that I have more knowledge in my belly, I am finally not afraid of being completely exposed after a few words. But if we talk about gratitude, should I also thank Max? If it weren't for this stupid opponent, I wouldn't even have a chance to speak. I would just make a cameo appearance like an extra and disappear from Luna's sight. And just when I was sighing about my broad-mindedness. Damn it. Why is he here? 77 So people really can't show off. Not even to themselves. With the old man present. Of course I can't act recklessly. And Luna doesn't know if it's the older sister or the younger sister attending today. Sitting far away at the main table, facing Max, Tim opened the banquet and said some polite words. He thanked the efforts of the whole company for making today's grand groundbreaking ceremony possible. Then he thanked all the partners for their strong support, and said that they will work together in the future. Finally, he announced that we will have a strategic cooperation with our iHong group and jointly develop the World City project. Max, as the representative of our iHong group, gave an impassioned speech, which was the signal for us to start eating. I said that seeing him so arrogant today, after 3 months of efforts, a document among the big shots has turned into a happy opening act. All roads led to Rome. Some people are born in Rome, after going around in circles. In the end, no one can do without anyone else. I can't help but sigh. Rich people really know how to play. I looked at Luna. She was looking straight ahead. It seems that it's the older sister attending today. The banquet hall was extremely lively. I, along with the people at my table, waved my chopsticks on the dining table like a prodigal son passing through a sea of flowers without touching a single petal. Tina's mouth was full of Boston lobsters. She said that today's specifications are even higher than the annual meeting. I saw her take the last abalone in front of me, and still couldn't help but mock me. What's wrong, Ryan? Is the food not to your taste, or is the scene so beautiful that it fills your petty mind? I snatched back my abalone. Even after eating so much, you still can't stop your leaky mouth. During the toast session, everyone at each table was like brave warriors charging forward one after another, facing death fearlessly in front of the bosses. I followed behind Tina. According to the rules, we should toast everyone at the main table. When it was my turn, Luna said to her dad, "This is Ryan I told you about." Tim maintained a standard kind smile. "Ryan, I've heard Luna mention you. Although you haven't been employed for long, you are smart and capable. Young people have a great future. In the future, when the projects are merged and managed, you should pay more attention and be a good helper for Luna and Max." I said, "Definitely. I am like a brick. I will go wherever I am needed. I will definitely live up to the chairman's expectations." I drank up the wine in my glass in one gulp. Tim nodded at me with a smile. The line was like queuing up in front of the Lady Meng to get soup, slowly circling around the main table. When I came to Max, I was singing the Song of Heroes in my heart and trying my best to close my ears. But he just said softly to me, "Thank you. Keep up the good work." I was almost not used to it. I secretly thought that he must be restraining himself because the old man was present. But still, I finally said, "Congratulations." After finishing a round of toasts, the final stop returned to Luna. Her face had already turned red, as if the younger sister was about to appear at any time. I was really afraid that she would suddenly hold my hand and make me the most handsome guy tonight. But fortunately, she just nodded slightly. I really didn't misjudge you. Keep up the good work in the future, I said. Luna, don't worry. I will definitely work hard to seize the opportunity you gave me. There was a lot of toasting and feasting. Who said that a group's carnival is a person's loneliness? With Tina chattering nonstop in my ear. It's simply torture to the ears. She swayed the wine in her goblet and took a sip. Today's wine is really good. The sour taste is very appetizing. I glared at her. Suddenly, she sighed again. I think you should eat more sea urchins. I hugged myself. My kidneys are very good. But don't have any improper thoughts about me. Her big white eye rolled over. Sea urchins don't Tony fy the kidneys. They Tony fy the gallbladder. Bro. Finally. I couldn't stand it and slipped outside alone to smoke. Another glance and I bumped into the doorman nodding and smiling at me. Oh, today is still at the familiar Straight Hotel. Suddenly someone called my name from behind. I turned around and saw Luna wrapping her clothes tighter. You don't need to wear my coat today, right? I asked her with a smile. She pursed her lips. It's too stuffy inside. I came out to get some fresh air. The atmosphere was a bit quiet. What's wrong? Have some thoughts? She suddenly asked me. How could it be? I am just a wage-earner. As long as there is work to do, I am energetic. I also just found out not long ago. After all, it's my dad's decision. Many things are not as simple as we think. Oh, Luna, there's no need for you to explain to me. Anyway, we recognize money but not people. Oh no. With the unwavering spirit of a wage earner, we definitely obey the company's arrangements. I actually sometimes envy you. You can always be so carefree. I blurted out. So now are you the older sister or the younger sister? Nothing. Nothing. I drank too much and my head is a bit dizzy. I mentioned you to my dad. Sure. After all, the chairman has already said so. Thank you for speaking well of me. All of a sudden, she let out a sigh, which made my heart skip a beat or two. I know you're trying hard, but a lot of things are endless. I gave an embarrassed smile. I know. The sky and the earth always so far apart. She shook her head. You'll gradually figure it out on your own. You've kept me out in the cold for so long. I'm going inside first. I was a bit confused. I always felt that what Tina and Luna said was rather puzzling. A few days later, I received a transfer letter from the company. In view of my experience and performance in the early stage of the World City project, I was sent to another place to participate in the preparation for a new project. My salary was increased. My rank was promoted. And I was farther away from Luna. I had changed from a half-baked person to a half-baked person whose words carried some weight. When socializing, there were new people introducing me one by one. So I no longer had to rack my brains suppressing dirty jokes. It's just that sometimes I would think about whether there was still anyone to block the wine for Luna. Or anyone to put a coat on her when she was cold. The new project was in full swing. And my tenure was extended again. My title became the third in command in the branch company. On the day when the project emerged above the ground, seeing the seed I had planted finally break through the soil, I posted a photo of the project on WeChat Moments. Apart from the people in the company, a group of my rowdy friends left messages for me, saying, "Ryan, you're so awesome now." I replied, "Not really. The boss is much more amazing than me. She can even find such a smart person who hides so deeply." Luna liked my WeChat Moments boast. I didn't know whether it was for me or for herself. After that, I went back to the head office several times and also met Luna a few times. When Tina saw me, she said, "Damn, you look so presentable now. You've upgraded from a slingshot to a cannon." I said, "Just do your job, girl." A good-looking guy doesn't need your flowery words. Luna glanced at me sideways from the office. My heart fluttered. I didn't know whether it was Sister Lynn referring to a gentle and refined woman or another Lynn maybe referring to a more caucasian woman sitting inside. But when I stood in front of her, she just asked casually, "Are you getting used to it now?" I thought to myself that I was so hardworking and could get used to anything. Except for your sister's mixed-up attitudes. But when the words came to my lips, all I could say was, "Working hard is my habit." Luna burst out laughing, looking very much like her sister was about to appear. The company's overseas expansion plan has been finalized recently. Are you interested in expanding our territory? Are you sure it's not exile? My heart was pounding, and I didn't know how to answer. This time, we will still cooperate with I Hong Group because Max is more familiar with the situation there. Are you going together? I blurted out. More or less. There are a lot of things to be dealt with together, in the early stage. Even if I was carefree. At this time I could only control my expression with difficulty. Then I wish you success. It's a powerful combination. I understand. I stood up to say goodbye. Actually, I originally thought. Luna hesitated to speak and finally waved her hand at me. Ryan, do you know what the shortcoming of smart people is? As I was about to leave the door, suddenly I heard her random remark. I didn't turn around and just left. 13 back on the project. I don't know why I had become a workaholic. I was the first to arrive and the last to leave every day. If my college classmate hadn't asked me out for dinner out of the blue, I might have planned to die suddenly at my post. I thought he was coming alone. So I made an appointment with him at a food stall. But he brought his girlfriend. I thought you were showing classmate friendship. But you actually tricked me and like a dog being lured in for slaughter. You're ruthless. So don't blame me for being enrightos. I pointed at a pile of steel bars and cement in the distance and said, "This is my project." He said, "Damn. You're really hard-working. It must be tiring to carry such high bricks up there." I shook my fancy suit and said, "I'm an office worker. Damn it." He said, "Stop pretending. Even if you live in the sky, you're still the sixth in the dormitory." I said, "Okay. I lose this round." Then I picked up the snow beer on the table and drank it all in one go. He said, "That's more like it. No matter what kind of boss you are, you have to accompany me to brave the world tonight." His girlfriend poured herself a glass of wine too. "Brother Ryan, Gangxi has always told me that you're the most handsome in their dormitory. Today, seeing is really believing." I quickly had another drink with her. "Sister-in-law, don't listen to his nonsense. I'm not only the most handsome but also the smartest." Gangxi gave me a contemptuous look. "And also the biggest braggart. What's the use of being handsome? It can still be eaten by a pawn." He hugged his girlfriend beside him. I'm now a legal couple. My heart trembled a little. Immediately, I took out my phone and called my dormitory brothers one by one. Quick. Quick. Start a video call. Our GE second brother is so fucking awesome. Let's have a virtual drink together. A meal seemed to bring me back to the old days. Opposite me, Gangxi and his wife were feeding each other, completely ignoring my feelings as a single dog. "Ryan, do you have a girlfriend? Do you want me to introduce one to you? I guarantee she'll be more beautiful than your sister-in-law." Gangxi's wife hit him. "Is there anyone more beautiful than me in your eyes?" I could only drink silently. The joys and sorrows of humans and dogs are not the same. I mean, Ryan, you're not young anymore. Stop fooling around. Find a nice girl. Tidy yourself up and get married. Gangxi slurred his words like a winner in life. Just listening to these words, I thought it was my mother sitting opposite me. Damn. Do you think girls are distributed by the state? I'm working hard and on standby all the time. You people will never figure it out. In this world, are there things with an end? So what if you become a general manager? So what if you become the richest man in the world? Is fate clearly marked with a price? I don't know why. But my already somewhat drunken head suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Luna said, I know you're trying hard. But a lot of things are endless. Gangsy continued to pat my shoulder. Ryan. Among the 6 of us in the dormitory. You are the smartest. But do you know the biggest shortcoming of smart people? I felt that all the hairs on my body were standing on end. Was this drunk guy in front of me really not sent by God to give me some advice? Smart people often lack courage. They are too hesitant, and think too much. Brother. In an instant, countless images flooded into my mind. Luna held my hand. Her head rested on my shoulder. And the figure of me shivering because I didn't put on a coat for her. Finally, she said to me, do you know what the shortcoming of smart people is?